Hi, everybody. Coming up at 10 a.m. Give everybody a couple more minutes, settle in, and we will begin drawing. Just another minute or two. Alrighty, let's begin. Good morning, everybody. Happy Monday. It is Monday, April 27th. Oh, a little cloudy, a little overcast, little sprinkles. But otherwise, the weather seems to be behaving okay. So today we will be drawing another of our fun animals. I'm just going to run down the materials real quick because we have a couple newcomers today. I'd like you to have a black marker, colored pencils or crayons. If you're using pencils, please have a sharpener handy. Paper, of course, hard flat surface to draw on, and smiles, like these little guys, all along the bottom here. So get ready to smile, and let's have some fun drawing this cool animal. Boop. A giraffe. Just the tallest mammal on Earth. No big deal, right? So I like to leave this out here for a few minutes for you guys to kind of have a look, drink it in, maybe notice some of the details or some fun part that you're excited to do. And then when we get around to that area, you can take some extra minutes and enjoy that part. I'll be back in just a moment. All right. I think I'm just going to bring the camera down a little closer for you guys. So give me just a minute and please excuse the shaking. Try and give you guys the best view possible here. All right. That should be good. Okie dokie. I hope you've had a moment to drink this in and you are ready to draw along with me. I'm going to get myself a nice fresh piece of paper and we are going to be off and running. So today, we should have our paper arranged vertically or in portrait orientation, top to bottom. And that is because our giraffe has a very long neck and we're going to try and draw some of that neck in. So we're going to need a little extra space today. Let's make sure we don't run out of paper. So let's go vertical today. As usual, I'm going to start with my black marker. And we are going to be starting with the nose. Go figure. Okay. Step one, find the middle. There we go. Found it. So I'm just going to kind of keep an eye on that. And our first line today is a horseshoe. And right where I've got the middle of my paper, I'm going to draw that said horseshoe, okay? And it's pretty easy. Watch me and then do your own. Just a horseshoe. There we go. See? No big whoop. Okay. Our next set of lines are also going to be horseshoes, except they're going to be upside down, well, kind of in the opposite direction of this one. And they're going to be inside. My two smaller horseshoes in here, sort of near the top, okay? Watch me, and then do your own. Horseshoe, horseshoe. And then inside those little horseshoes, we're just going to draw, color in some little tiny ovals. Okay. Now, the next series of lines, very, very easy lines, but let's make sure we put them in the correct spot. There's going to be two lines up here, sort of aligning with the top of our first horseshoe. Short lines. And these are just going to guide us, be guidelines as to how the snout of our giraffe is going to move up. These two lines look just like this. See? Very easy. Okay. The next two lines are going to be the outside of the face. And they're a little tricky, not too tricky. But basically, we're going to start right about here, right about halfway up this horseshoe, maybe at the bottom of the nostrils. And this line's going to come out in this direction. It's going to have a hump and then a bigger hump, all right? So watch me and then try your own, and then we'll do the other side. It's going to have a hump, come in, and then a bigger hump. And just like I promised, I'm going to do the same thing on the other side, starting about in the middle, about where the bottom of my nostrils are. Hump, hump. Hump, hump. And get them close to the same height there. Okay. So I'm going to continue moving up. And my next lines are going to be the eyes. And we've done these types of eyes before. They're basically going to be the sideways teardrop type. All right? I'm going to come out a little bit beyond this mark here, but I'm not connecting to this face mark. And the giraffe's eyes aren't too big. So let's try, I don't know, maybe just outside of this snout line we made. And we're just going to draw a teardrop. And remember, don't connect it there. If you do, it's okay. It's not a big deal. It's just I want to bring some color in there. And I don't need a hard outline to do that. And I'm going to do the same thing on the other side, coming in a little bit off the snout line that I've drawn. And drawing a teardrop and not connecting it. Okay, this next series of lines rather, are going to be the top brow, sort of the forehead area. We're going to do it on both sides. And I'm going to start just outside the eye. I'm going to come up. It's going to be, a pretty significant bump for that eyebrow. And then I'm just going to sweep up slightly. Point towards where the horns might be. Now watch me and then do it yourself. I'm going to come up. I come in and I'll sweep up just a little bit. I want to do the same thing on the other side. Outside the eye, come up, in, and sweep up slightly. It doesn't have to be perfect. In fact, when it's not perfect, it gives our animal character. Okie dokie. I'll assume you're caught up. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to draw some of these. I'm going to draw his horns in. Okay? These are, I don't know, they're kind of like our S-curve type of lines, which we've done before. If you're new here, maybe watch me make the first S-curve line and then make one yourself. This one's going to be the outside of the horn. It's going to start right above where I ended this line. And it's going to be an S-curve that connects right about here. Watch me. S-curve. Do the same thing on the other side. Start right above that forehead line I made. S-curve. We're going to make similar S-curve lines in between those two, but you're going to indicate the inside of the horns. They're not going to connect to anything up here. And as we move our S-curve down, we want to make sure that our horn gets a little bit fatter towards the bottom. So I'm going to start, let's say about here. And when I come down my S-curve, I want to come towards the middle some, so that the bottom of my horn is fatter. And let's say I'm going to end it right about where I've ended that forehead line, maybe a little higher. Let's make it a little, see how I'm making it get a little bit fatter there. Very slight bend in this one here. All right, good job. Let's just go ahead and get these ears worked in here. The giraffe has very cool ears. So let's take a deep breath and get ready to make these strokes, because the shape of the ear is very unique. It connects in a very small area. So we don't have the opportunity to do these big fun ears like some of our other animals. We're going to have to be a little bit particular about how we draw the top of this ear. It's another S-curve. It's going to curve up and kind of, flatten off a little bit at the top. We're not going to go too far out because a giraffe doesn't have huge ears like an elephant. It's got pretty reasonable sized ears. I'm going to come out, from the top of this forehead line we made. I'm going to come pretty much straight out, sweep up, and curve at the top. Pretty much straight out, sweep up, and then curve at the top. And you can see how that line resembles an S. That's what I mean by S-curves. Sometimes they're forward S's, sometimes they're backward S's. But it's a nice little trick to have in your toolbox when you're drawing your figurative toolbox, when you're drawing animals. I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. It's just starting right where that forehead line ends. Straight out, sweep up, and curve out. All right, now the bottom of the ears, we're not going to connect down here. We are going to connect it at the top. And this is pretty easy. I'm going to pretty much come, not straight down, maybe out in an angle. Big round shape at the bottom. Sweep right up and get as close to that as I can. I don't have to connect here. I'm going to try. Here we go. I guess you could say that's an S-curve, but it's got a really big hanging area here that I think I wanted to highlight a little bit more than the S-curve so that your ear doesn't end up too small. And I want to do the same on the other side. Again, coming pretty much down, up, and connecting at the top. It doesn't have to be perfect. It rarely is. Okay. I'm just going to make a few more series of lines up here before we draw in the neck. First one is going to be a little arc line at the top of each ear. Like that and that. Another one will be a series of, kind of like a W with an extra V after it, a capital W with a V. Something like that. And then lastly, I'm just going to draw some guidelines above the eyes. Where I think that top of that eyelid might be. Something like that. Before I move on from the eye, I'm just going to color in the inside of the eye. It's going to look a little funny, but that's okay. We're going to come back, of course, and add color to the eye. So I just want to color in just the middle like that. I know, it looks weird. But if you trust me, we'll come back and make that look cool. All right, so we got our giraffe's head. Next thing we're going to do is going to draw the neck in, and it's pretty easy. I don't want you to worry too much about this, because where we get tricky into the neck is when we start drawing spots, and that's color, and we'll be having so much fun then anyway, you won't even notice. But with his neck, I'm gonna start pretty much where this first bump is. I'm gonna come relatively straight down, maybe out towards the outside of the page a little bit. And before I come all the way down, I'm gonna come back in, almost like a little bit of a hump. Come back in, and then I'm gonna go back out. And that's to sort of suggest the giraffe's neck anatomy a little bit. I don't want to just do a straight line. That's boring. We like to do curved lines. It gives us a little more opportunity to be a little more realistic, a little more illustrative. So watch me and then try it yourself. I'm going to come pretty much straight down, but kind of out towards this a little bit. I'm going to bend in, and I'm going to come back out. You see? Pretty simple. I won't do the same on the other side. Don't worry about this being perfect. There we go. Not sweating it too much at all. All right, 3 more black lines and then on to color. First one's easy. Just to the bottom of his lip there. Doesn't have to be perfect. 2 more lines. They're going to be pretty much aligned with the outside of our first horseshoe. They're going to be on the neck. They're going to be about, I don't know, not too long. And you're just going to go like this. Maybe like that. And like that. And those are just guidelines to help inform where we're going to be putting in some shadows and some color. All right. I think we're done with our black marker. I'm going to put the cap on so that it doesn't dry out and put it aside. Okay, time for some fun. Put some color in here. Ready? Okay, today I'm going to be doing a giraffe. That's pretty much the traditional colors. I'm going to be using brown and a light brown and a gold and an orange. Maybe I'll use some yellow. If you want to do a green giraffe, you're welcome to do so as well. I would suggest, however, getting together 4 shades. All right, so because I'm going to do sort of brown and orange, I'm trying to get lighter with some of these different colors. So I got dark brown, regular brown, orange, and goldish, light orange. Could even be yellow. That would work fine too. So if you were doing a green giraffe, you would want a dark green, a regular green, maybe a light green or a lime green, and yellow. If you were doing a purple giraffe, you might want dark purple, and then maybe a blue or a light purple, and then a lavender, and then a pink. Just some ideas. You can do any color you want. I would just suggest starting with 4 shades of the same color so that you can follow along with me as I shade my giraffe from dark to light. Okay, so just like I usually do, I'm going to start with my darkest color. For me, that's dark brown. And I want to start putting this color in where I think the darkest areas might be. Now, my instincts are telling me that there's going to be some shadow and stuff like that. And, maybe some hairs up here that are dark, maybe a little bit of shadowing here. But there's also going to be some spots that I'm going to start in with this color, my darkest brown here. Don't worry too much about this. We're going to be layering over those colors. So don't push down too hard with your dark just yet. We'll come back to our darks to really accentuate the spots. We're basically just going to kind of rough them in at this point. So follow along with me, and I'm going to start from top to bottom, adding my dark brown. I imagine he's got some dark up there. Oh, I'm sure there's a little bit of a shadow right there. And I'm just using my scribble lines just like I always do. I have a lot of color to add, so I'm not going to get too hung up on any particular color just yet. Maybe there's a bunch of darker fur in there. Do that on both sides. There we go. Oh, maybe there's some dark right above the eye there on the top of the eyelid. Maybe there's some down here on the bottom of the eyelid. I'm purposefully leaving a little bit of white space in there. I don't want to commit to this color being all around the eye. I got so many more colors to add. So I'll start with just a little bit here, and maybe we'll come back to it. Oh, let's see. Maybe he's got like a little dark little patch up here with a little bit of this color running down there. Maybe there's even a little bit coming down towards the top of the snout. Kind of like a little shadow or maybe a marking above the eye there. Okay, so I want to add a few of these spots I was talking about. But I don't, at least for my approach, I don't want to draw them and then fill them in. I'm kind of just going to make little areas of color like that. And I think this will help me get a little bit more of a random effect on my spots so they don't seem too, oh, what's the word I'd be looking for? Too deliberate. I want them to be different from left to right because that's how they would be in nature. So let's just add another one there, another one here, and one there. And maybe he's got one there, and I'm purposefully making them different than one another. I don't want them to be exact. I want my giraffe to have a natural appeal, sort of a little bit random, planned but random. I don't know if that makes sense, but if it does, cool. If not, just follow along and trust your creative instincts. I want to do the same thing down the neck. As the spots of our giraffe move down, they get bigger. So let's keep that in mind when we're adding our spots to the neck. We're not going to have to add too many because they're going to get pretty big pretty fast. So let's pretend, oh, there's a spot here. Maybe that means there's a spot here on the side. Maybe that means there's another spot here. Stay loose. Don't be too deliberate here. Let's let our imagination build some of these spots and tell us where they go. Maybe there's one little one up there too. Yeah, maybe they're starting to get a little bigger. And I am doing a little bit of outlining as they get bigger, just so I don't end up making them too big and coloring in too much. Remember, I said we want to kind of use this color sparingly at first. So maybe there's one on the side. All right, let's go with a big one, like that. Give it a little bit of shape. A little unpredictable. And maybe there's a big one right there that comes out a little. Maybe this one is really starting to get big. Just want to finish it off, and then let's do this really big one right here. And we're just going to kind of let it trail off towards the bottom. Cool. That looks pretty neat. I can live with that. All right, I just want to take one quick look, make sure I don't see any more opportunities to put some of this dark brown in. Oh, I think this looks pretty good. Alrighty. Alright, I think I'm good with that. I think I'll move on to my next color, which for me is another brown, a lighter brown. I'm going to switch over to that. I'm going to sharpen this up real quick. It's a little dull. So in practicing what we usually do, I'm going to use this color to chase around my darkest value a bit. I might use it in some other areas where I think maybe the fur color is changing or is a different color in that area. So to start, let's go ahead and let this color chase around our dark a little bit. And then we'll see what else we can figure out. Maybe there's a little bit of a shadow underneath that line at the top of the ear. Maybe there's a little bit of this middle brown mixed in with the dark brown in there. Maybe he's got some of this middle tone hair up here. He's got a little hairdo. Little hairdo. Let's put some more of this above the eye. That's a pretty cool place for a little highlight or a little shadow there. Carry this out a little bit closer. Maybe he's got some shading in the outside of the snout area. There we go. Maybe there's a little bit of this just under the eye. Maybe just like the eyelid, you know? Darken up a little bit in the middle of the eye too. Maybe some of this color is what the bottom of that ear is looking like. And we might bring some more of that hair out there, but for now that looks about right. I do want to use this a little bit on the nose here. I'm going to leave the bottom lip white. I'm going to use this to sort of just darken in a little bit on the nose. I want to leave some white behind. My imagination is telling me there's going to be some white in the nostrils, maybe on the tip of the nose there, and some white probably on the bridge. And that's just to allow some light to play off our giraffe. And I'm going to darken this up a little bit towards the bottom of the lip. All right, let's add a little bit of this in here, just so that we know that there's a shadow there. Here we go. I think I'm going to add just a little bit more of this coming down the side onto the outside of that first horseshoe we made. And maybe just add a little more in here. And this is just to get some color on here, as when I do the next step, we're going to bring a lot of this color to life. Maybe where we put these guidelines in for some of that neck anatomy, maybe we just run some darker color right down over it. Darkening this a little bit. Okay. All right. I think I can move on to my next color, which for me is orange. I can already tell you I'm not going to need too much of this just yet. Add a little bit in there. All right, so I'm going to switch over to orange. This would be my third color as I'm moving from dark to light. I don't need a ton of this. Most of this is just going to go right into the top of the nose here. Or the tip of the snout, I guess is what we would call that. I'll bring a little bit of this in up here. A little bit in up here. Just a little bit, just to enhance my colors here a little bit. Put a little in the ear there. Maybe there's just a little touch on top. Continue the shadow a little bit down the sides, just a little. I don't want to use too much orange. It'll look too cartoony. Just a little bit in choice places to enhance our color. Use a little bit of this inside my spots, just a little, just to add a little bit of extra color in there. And I'm just lightly Sweeping this color over the spots I've already drawn. We're going to come back and fill in all those scribble lines with our gold or yellow. So I don't have to worry about that too much just yet. All right. Cool. Yeah, I think that's about enough orange. Oh, maybe highlight that line a little bit. All right. I think we did good with our orange. Didn't overuse it. We've got some details starting to happen. And I have a feeling that this next step is really going to start to bring this tall, wonderful creature to life. Hey, I wanted to share a fun fact with you about giraffes. Did you know that giraffes' necks, despite how long they are, aren't long enough to reach the ground? So that means if a giraffe is standing up, he can't even reach the ground to eat a tasty flower or a hunk of grass. That's why giraffes eat out of the trees. They literally cannot reach the ground. And you might be thinking to yourself, well, how do they drink water? Well, here's another fun fact. Most of the water a giraffe needs comes from the plants it eats. But on occasion, the giraffe does have to drink from a water source that's on the ground, and they actually have to get down on their, kind of bend their front legs, or they can sit down and drink. Like that was weird, huh? Okay, moving on from fun facts, I got my gold, or my lightest color as we move from dark to light. Maybe you're using light pink right now. Maybe you're using yellow. Maybe you're using a light green. I don't know. I'm using this gold, sort of light orange or dark yellow color. And this is where I'm going to really start to color in pretty much everything. Now, I mentioned I wanted to leave white on the top of the nose, on the snout area. I want to leave white all around the nostrils. I'll maybe leave a little bit of light colors up here in the horn and on the inside of the ears. So even though I don't want to even though I do want to really, really richen up my giraffe with this gold, I want to make sure I stay away from these key areas that I'm identifying here. And that's going to help bring some of the fur, make some of the fur look white. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add a little bit up here, just at the top of the horn, and a little bit up here. See how I let a little bit of that white play through up there? I think that looks cool. All right. I'm going to do the ear, but I'm only going to do the top of the ear. All gold. Okay. Maybe there's a little bit on top inside, but leaving the outside still white. And the same thing on the other side, coloring in the whole top of the ear. All up here. And bringing a little bit of color on top of the other colors that I've put in there already. You can really see how those colors start to pop, huh? Okay, so I'm just going to continue to push this color in. I'm going to leave some highlights up here on the forehead now, so if you want to watch me and then do your own, go for it. Still coloring in over all my other colors, okay? But I want to leave a little highlight there. So I'm just going to step away from now. I'm going to walk away from that area for now. I'm going to color in the eyes. Coloring right over all my other colors. Do the same thing over here. There we go. I'm still leaving, maybe I'll just be nice and soft with my gold right there. But I do want to color in the inside of the eye here. All right. Do the same thing right down the sides of the face here, underneath, coming right down, coloring right over all the other colors I've already done. And remembering I want to leave some white here, and I want to leave some white here. let's see, what do we want to do here? Before I go and cover up too much, I think I'm just going to have a little bit of gold come into here. And I'm going to come down a little bit from the top, just so I can leave just a little bit of white running up the middle of the nose there. I'm going to use my gold also over these colors down here, and leaving just a bit of white to breathe around those nostrils. I think that works pretty good. I'm going to do the same thing coming all the way down the neck with my gold. I'm just going to sharpen it up. And coming right down the entire neck. Maybe leave a little bit of light in here, similar to what we've done on the snout there. Leaving the bottom of the chin still white. Let that stay white. Moving right across. Letting it light in the middle. Okay. You see how you let the light play there? It kind of adds a little bit of three-dimensionality to our cool giraffe. Okay. Go ahead and put down my gold for a second here. Okay, so as I mentioned earlier that we'd probably be coming back to our darkest brown. I think I'm actually going to go to my second darkest brown. So this is just normal brown. And I'm going to use this to enhance my spots a little bit. Not too much. Never going to over apply any one particular color. But I think my spots could use just a little bit of a bump. I'm pushing down kind of hard. Not too hard. I'm not ripping my paper or anything like that. I just want to make sure I get this color in on top of the dark brown that I've already laid down. And sometimes you just need to give it a little extra push when you want that color to saturate on top. It's okay to be loose and, you know, not be too serious about what we're doing here. We're putting color on top of color that we've already laid down, so we should feel pretty confident in what we've already done. I'm using this just to add a slight outline, just to give my spots a little bit of division from the other colors. I'll do a little bit up here. Not too much. Not too much. All right, that's feeling pretty good. Feeling pretty good about that. So, I think we can move on to the eyes. The eyes are very, very simple. I think I'm going to do some gold eyes. Gold eyes. So, in order to do that, I'm going to color in right next to that little black area. Just a little, not too much. Like a little yellow, little golden stripe in there. See? And then on the outside, I'm going to leave some white in there. But I'm going to draw, I don't know, like a little arc line. But I'm also going to leave a little bit of white on the outside there. I don't know if you guys can see this. This might be a little too small to see from where you guys are. But maybe you can see what I've done there. And we're going to get in there with black to finish off the eye. I just want to take one more look and make sure we've got all the detail we need in there for color for now, and I think we do. Okay, so I'm going to move on to my black pencil, my tiny, tiny, tiny little black pencil. And I'm just going to color in the middle of, in between those two yellow lines that I made. I'm going to try and leave a little bit of white in the middle though. Like a sliver in the middle. You see that? I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. Just try to leave a little bit of white in the middle. And then I'm going to try and outline just the outside of the eye there. Oh, it's really small in there. Just do the best you can. Doesn't have to be perfect. Okay. Still have my black my black colored pencil out. I'm going to draw some eyelashes. You might think it's weird, but giraffes actually have pretty long eyelashes. But we don't need to draw too many. Just enough to come outside the head here a little bit. So we're seeing it break the shape. And we can do the same thing on the bottom. Just enough to break outside that line we decided not to connect. Okay. Still got my black colored pencil. And I'm going to use this to do a little bit of outlining, some of those nicer little details that we usually do towards the end. And I think the first one, maybe there's a couple lines in the horn up here. Maybe there's a little slight line where the eyebrow comes up. Maybe there's a little bit up here. Have fun, stay loose. Let your imagination tell you where these lines might belong. Let your hand do some of the walking. Try not to break your pencil like me. I'm doing a little bit of suggestive outlining on these spots just to make them pop and play against our color a little bit. Not too much. I'm not really trying to outline any particular feature. I'm really just trying to enhance my color with a little bit of black. I'm actually going to make a kind of a darker line underneath the eye there. I think that might help. And maybe a little bit above as well. Alright, this guy's looking pretty cool. Maybe he's got a few funny little hairs here and there. Maybe there's a couple sticking off this horn. Maybe there's a few coming off the top of the ear. Maybe there's a few down here coming out underneath the ear. Maybe there's some funny hairs in there. Maybe there's some funny ones up there. Okay, let's see. Yeah, he's looking pretty cool. He's looking pretty neat. I like this guy. Just gonna draw a little dot out there. Okay, right on. Okay, well, I'm gonna get ready to sign my work here. Kind of had a quick drawing, quicker than usual drawing today. It's 10 of, which is good. Before I sign my work, I just wanted to tell you guys one more thing. Did you know giraffes only need to sleep like a half hour a day? Can you imagine only sleeping a half an hour? I can't. In fact, I don't even want to think about it. So I'm just going to wrap up my drawing. I have a little bit of shading up here I'm noticing, maybe a little darker up there. This is my medium or regular brown, coloring some of these leftover white scribble gaps that are left behind from all the loose fun work I did earlier. And yeah, there we go. All right, I'm going to sign my work. I think I'm going to sign it in red today. All right, well, thank you, everybody, for joining me. Sign your work. And please upload your drawings to the page so that they get into the photo area. If you don't mind posting them directly to the page as opposed to the comments section, I would appreciate it because I really like to drink them all in at once. So I hope everybody had fun drawing today with me. I had fun with you. Be nice to your parents and they'll be nice to you. Thank you very much, everybody. Don't forget to smile. Have a great day. Bye.